this is Jaya Kapoor presenting to you paper 2 module 14, Redrawing Boundaries of the Canon, Indian Women Dramatists Writing in English. Theatre being a public space and given the understanding of the way women have been isolated from many domains that fall into public space, the lack of presence of women in Indian English drama does not come as a surprise. Writing in English has its own snags for not being the language of masses, but that of the urban elite, for being the language of the colonizers, hence the concomitant reservations also, and not being a commercially viable medium. And writing as women for stage is also attended with a host of troubling issues. Even as actors, performers, women have not been a part of theatrical performances till around 19th century. This paper would be a partial documentation of the female dramatist writing in English in India. It proposes to examine the documentation of female dramatists writing in India. The complex interplay of writings of women and impetuses behind choosing or to write in a language not one's own is a subject of the paper. The dearth of adequate number of plays by women impedes their standing in the canon. A fraction of plays by them have been certified as standard works that are published, anthologized, taught and produced. Undoubtedly, the undercurrents of Indian English plays written by female dramatists are attentive to gender issues. They interrogate the relationship of women to nationalism, myths, sexuality and modernity in the dramatic sphere. These dramatists in their own ways represent a variety of positions and perspectives. Myth and innovation in post-independence drama. For women dramatists to write for theatre has in some ways been to protest against the establishment and all conventional thinking. They have long recognized and exploited the fact that classical myths constantly reappear in different forms, shaping the discourse of literature in highly distinctive ways. To face myth as a woman writer is to rehearse one's own colonization or iconization through the material one's culture considers powerful and primary. The refiguring of myth in this century by Snehlata Reddy, Uma Parmeshwaran, Mallika Sarabhai and Gauri Ram Narayan represents their participation in a historical process of identity formation as well as their struggle to transform the asymmetry of gender hierarchy. Snehlata Reddy, the Kannada activist, was co-founder of amateur theatre group, the Madras Players, in the year 1960. She aimed to create a counterculture by renegotiating the boundary between the genders. In her play Sita, she focuses on the heroine of Ramayana. Unlike the epical Sita, this Sita rejects Ram, his dharma, his order for the test of her chastity through trial by fire. Reddy's Sita does not let this incident remain at a personal level. Rather, she gives it a universal significance. This Sita goes beyond social conventions and focuses on her life, her needs, necessities, wishes, fancies, desires and her identity above all. Uma Parmeshwaran. Uma Parmeshwaran is conversant with experiences of South Asian women in Canada as she has been the two-time chair of the Status of Women Writers Committee of the Writers Union of Canada, a member of the Margaret Lawrence Chair of Women's Studies, and she has also sat on the board of Immigrant Women's Association of Manitoba. Her play, Sons Must Die, centers on the experiences of three women in the partition of 1947. The play is inflicted by her interest in Greek tragedies containing a chorus and stylized language of the verse. Her other plays include Meera in 1971, Sita's Promise in 1981, Dear Didi, My Sister in 1989 and Ruthless But Green Are the Boulevard Trees in 1998. Her two dance dramas, Meera and Sita's Promise, performed in Winnipeg are sourced from the Puranas and the Mahabharata and Ramayana. At the same time, Both these plays blend in a sense of modernity and the Canadian experience through myth and dance and use modern English prose. Gauri Ram Narayan is a playwright and theatre director in Chennai. In 2005, Ram Narayan founded Just Us Theatre Repertory. Her play Dark Horse won 2 national awards. Mathemagician was nominated for the Edinburgh Evening Newswin 2010. Her 2 new productions are Yashodhara and Knight's End. Dark Horse is based on 10 poems of Arun Kolatkar. Here, the poet is in conversation with the journalist and the poems are animated in performance to unravel several questions about the role of art as protest, prophecy, transcendence and solace. Sarpasutra is a retelling of a lesser legend from Mahabharata. It can be understood in several contexts and issues that plague us now. Genocide, war, social inequalities, gender issues, human greed, afforestation and environmental questions of survival of indigenous races are subjects. Knight's End is a play written and designed by Gauri and starts and ends with a shlok from Mahabharata. The story woven around the protection of tigers is also that of Krishnan Nair, born in a family of Kathakali artists in Kerala. Now working as a forest guard in a tiger sanctuary in Rajasthan, apart from Krishnan Nair, there is only one other character on the stage, a tribal girl, Chandni. Soliloquies unfold as Nair speaks his mind to injured bird he is nursing, and Chandni to the idol of a family goddess, and later to an ant. The playwright knits the trials faced by the forest department and life's sorrows seamlessly into this storyline. Mallika Sarabhai. Mallika Sarabhai is an activist and performer from Gujarat. An accomplished Kuchipudi and Bharatnatyam dancer, she is also known for her contribution in the fields of theatre, television, film, writing and publishing. Mallika's role of Draupadi in Peter Brooks's play The Mahabharata won her many accolades. In Search of the Goddess, rewrites the myth of Draupadi and Savitri. The play looks at how women are stereotyped into goddesses or minions and pigeonholed in society. It combines classical dance, storytelling and mime to explore the perception of Shakti. Draupadi in Mahabharata is looked upon as a prototype of sacrifice. Sarabhai attempts to see Draupadi with a non-male prism. In Sarabhai's text, this modern Draupadi finds expression for her anger. Besides giving a raw deal to Draupadi, mythologies deface the lives of other goddesses. A glaring example of such imaging is that of Sati Savitri. Savitri, Sarabhai's play reconsidered Savitri's long accepted representation and redefines the notion of Sati. Her Savitri calls those men who worship her and burn widows at their dead husbands' funeral pyres liars and manipulators. Goddesses were created to suit the necessity of the patriarchal politics. For women, Sarabhai advocates fostering the power of Shakti within them to thwart this dominant autocentric milieu and thereby create a democratic world. Mallika Sarabhai's one dance drama called Sita's Daughters is a feminist reconstruction of the medieval Sita into a modern Sita. She incorporates the Brechtian feminist outlook to connote herself to be looked atness rather than looking at being looked atness, or more commonly lookingness. In introducing her performances, she sets her aim: I am here to talk to you about women. In this play, Sita describes Ram as the delicate prince who needed my support in coping with life in the forest, the weak man who had to gather an army to fight his battles, or chauvinist who needed proof of his wife's virtue, a king who fails in his duty as a husband. Sarabhai's text uses feminist gestus during her performance, tracing the moment which explain the play but also exceed the play. Feminist politics and counter-historical poetics rampant in these playtexts lend themselves to complicated analysis. These plays can further be read as instructive, analytical theatre. Inviting the participatory play of the spectator and the possibility for which Brecht must devoutly wish that significance, the production of meaning, continue beyond the play's end, congealing into choice and action after the spectator leaves the theatre. Situating these plays beyond the proscenium arch onto the social cultural space acknowledges the work to make explicit the feminist politics implicit in such playwrights' works, as well as offering a means for feminist critics to emerge with these plays, complicated use and rewriting of history, memory, politics of the gendered or inscribed body. By the 90s, urban English theatre staged social plays, experimental plays, physical theatre and women dramatists' intervention in the scene enriched our understanding for reassessing patriarchal ideology and culture and for articulating and defining equitable gender relations. To do theatre for these modern dramatists like Manjula Padmanabhan, Deena Mehta and Poili Sengupta has been to protest against violence, injustice and ignorance, to assert values that help survive on the terrestrial plane and concomitantly to transcend to higher levels of being. Manjula Padmanabhan is an artist, illustrator, cartoonist, playwright, novelist, journalist and a children's book author. Apart from writing newspaper columns, she also created comic strips and has a long-running cartoon strip, Suki, an Indian female comic character. Her much acclaimed play, Lights Out, displays the savagery of gang rape of a slum woman while the upper middle class people savor a voyeuristic pleasure from it, and to their utter inhumanity, they even forget to make an attempt to stop it. Instead, they make tea table discussion of it. The entire play passes through an ongoing debate which bears the urban apathy towards rape and ensuing dehumanization. The play makes no mention of the word rape. It is only expressed through clues. Some bizarre sounds like screaming, high-pitched, hysterical, horrid and gurgly, rasping. Throughout the first two scenes, the characters Leela, Bhaskar, Mohan all avoid the direct conversation of a gang rape and hence their indecisiveness impedes them from taking any action. The conflicting dialogues and the rising anxiety builds the crisis. The play succeeds in creating an ambience of tension, dilemma that underlines the fear and the communal apathy upon which the gang rape and violence thrive. Her next play, Hidden Fires, is a series of monologues engaged with the issue of communal violence and the ensuing loss of human lives. Other plays are Artist's Model, The Sextet consisting of 6 short skits. Her play Harvest was selected for Onassis Prize for Theatre in 1997. Harvest is a futuristic play based on the contractual business of body organs from third world donor to that of an American guinea. It deals with a plethora of issues facing undeveloped world such as poverty, disease. In her article, Manjula Padmanabhan's Harvest, Global Technoscopes and International Trade in Human Body Organs, Gilbert asserts that the play focuses on the global spread of the late capitalist technology and its significant risks. Manjula Padmanabhan's Harvest locates these risks at intensely intimate and yet thoroughly social through a chilling drama about transnational flows in 2 distinct but related areas, biomedical technology and digital technology, including virtual reality. The play is about a young man who enters in a contract with organ selling company Interplanta in order to make money for his impoverished family, only to discover that his and his family's lives would change forever, being ruled and watched over by an all-American blonde called Ginny. The play allows Om and his family and their struggle to keep their identity and sanity. In the futuristic techno setting of the play, there is much evidence of dehumanization, Orientalism, capitalism, post colonialism, globalization, creating a dystopia in which human living is constant threat of robotic panopticism. Deena Mehta. Deena Mehta is an award-winning dramatist. Her play Brides Are Not for Burning received an international award from BBC in 1979. Getting Away with Murder and Brides Are Not for Burning are full of complexities of modern life. Both these plays consist of a well-organized plot in which characters have convoluted lives due to abusive childhood, gender hierarchy at workplace. Getting Away with Murder explores the tension and experiences of three women. Central of the play is looking back to the personal hazards of three friends, of which most shocking one is the unspoken trauma of juvenile sex abuse of Sonali. Brides Are Not for Burning begins with the news of the death of Lakshmi. The play slowly releases how women passively bear the torture and humiliation in the name of protecting the izzat, samman of the family, and after marriage, the sneers and insults of in-laws for not being able to gratify their demands. However, both these plays find easy solutions by offering a happy ending to their female protagonist, with their inequalities and trouble ironed out. Poily Sengupta. Poily Sengupta is one of the major English playwrights in India today. Is also known as the writer for children. Some of her plays like Mangalam, Thus Spoke Shurpanakha, So Said Shakuni and Alifa have been directed by Joy Michael for Yatrik on Delhi stage. In 2008, Samara's song was shortlisted for Hindu Metroplus Playwright Award. As a playwright, her first full-length play Mangalam won the award for the most socially relevant theme in Hindu Madras Players Play Scripts Competition in 1993 and was later published by Seagull in Body Blows. Special mention was made for Keats Was a Tuber at the 1996 British Council International Playwright Competition. She believes that children should be introduced to theatre early. Drama teaches and is therapeutic. Mangalam showcases the violence against women. It cuts across economic, cultural, age and class groups. Two modern educated families in the play as the play within the play are touched by abuse. The play within a play technique is used to underscore the standpoint. Also, the idea of using the same characters in both plays is to show how from 1960 to the present modern cosmopolitan family, nothing seems to have changed. Structures of oppression are replicated. Sengupta's next work, Inner Laws, explores lightheartedly the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Keats Was a Tuber is a tirade against present Anglophilic system of teaching English in India. Thus Spoke Shurpanakha, So Said Shakuni, hereafter Thus Spake, is an ambitious play that treats characters from two different epics, the Ramayana in Shurpanakha and Mahabharata as Shakuni. The play elicits sympathy for the devils of the epics that were humanized in depth and detail. The two characters from different epics meet as travelers at an airport and are named simply woman and man. The woman identifies herself as the modern day Shurpanakha, narrating the events to the man in modern idiom. Women, such as Shurpanakha, are often shown to threaten male world, so they are described as dangerous Rakshasis, who must be controlled, contained, punished before they can upset the patriarchal setup. When two characters meet in a contemporary situation, another crisis begins to threaten the world. Finally, it is Shurpanakha who dissuades Shakuni from provoking another bloodbath. Her play Samara's Song, directed by Ashish Sen and produced and performed by Theatre Club, is on contemporary issues. Above all, it explores the dangerous double face of politics and biased and prejudiced recording of history. It's a powerful play on politics and addresses various issues. The politics of language that further accentuates the difference between powerful and powerless is interwoven within the narrative. The names of the principal characters are of cities and towns in different parts of the world, such as Ara, Mati, Samara, Ashti, and so on. that are torn apart by politics of colonizer colonized, state and stateless, home and homeless. Sengupta's plays are all distinctive, yet one can discern the overarching concern for women's issues in family, society, political systems and culture that informs her plays. Poily Sengupta as an actor understands the requirements of the stage and thereby changes very stage-worthy plays. New generation of young female playwrights. Let's take a look at some of these playwrights. Ninaz Khorji. Ninaz Khorji's Insomnia is an intention in this play was to create a sense of journey which really goes nowhere and attempting to push the boundaries of form. Her third play, Damage, is a performance piece based on a true story. It focuses around an incident of a woman attacked on her doorstep in London. It raises questions as to how we can handle such violence and what does this show about who we are as humans in contemporary society. And further, who is to be imputed, the system or society? Annie Zaidi. Annie Zaidi writes poetry, essays, fiction and scripts for the stage and the screen. Before her foray into theatre, Zaidi worked as a journalist for over a decade, reporting from both urban and rural areas and continues to freelance from a range of magazines and newspapers. Her first full-length script in English, Name, Place, Animal, Thing, is situated in a typical middle-class household. Zaidi sensitively lifts the veil on the strange dynamic between domestic help and families they work for. Nancy, the girl at the center of the story, has spent all her life working for the Maliks, but never truly belongs. Name, Place, Animal, Thing asks those hard questions often ignored in middle-class homes. Its very relevance may make many squirm. I feel very strongly about the way we treat domestic workers in India. Zaidi says, we do not think of them as people who perform such vital function for us. There are a lot of people who prevent their domestic help from getting an education and prefer to keep them in their situation, says Zaidi. Nancy's character is derived from 3 different women she knows, while characters of her employers have shades of people I know all over the country, unquote. Her first Hindi play, Jal, is about a policeman on a quest for missing engineer. It touches on the political gain and moral responsibility. She has also written a radio play called Jam. Another play, So Many Socks, tells the story of 3 generations of a Tibetan family in exile and the difficulties faced by families forced to move from their homeland. The play is inspired from a book of poems, Kora, written by Tibetan author-activist Tenzin Sunde, which highlights the problems of Tibetans in exile and offers perspective on the problem of rootlessness faced by Tibetans. Aisha Menon. Aisha Menon is a frequent playwright for BBC Radio 4. She is twice a recipient of the BBC Award. Aisha is originally from Mumbai but has recently moved to UK. She has won Sony Radio Award for a Best Drama for her adaptation of Q&A and the Cairo Trilogy. Pereira's Bakery at 76 Chapel Road talks about demise of a bakery in Bandra. It was inspired by a newspaper article about the tenants of a 100-year-old chawl in Bandra that housed a bakery being threatened by land sharks. A story about ordinary people trying to preserve their heritage while the world around them is changing too fast. Bakeries in Bandra are perhaps the last vestiges of an age gone by before it is transformed into an upscale suburb visited by people from across the country. The demise of one such establishment led the playwright to write a play for defining landmarks of Bandra. Iravati Karnik is a playwright, theatre director and actor. She provoked moralist debate with her research project titled Sex, Morality and Censorship. Her current concern is her engagement with examining how the quality of life has transformed with the spurt of different media. With the writer's block, she got initial performance and also helped in translation of Marathi plays into English writer's block. She presented her play Magutavir Maya Sabha at the Vinod Doshi Memorial Theatre Festival. The play depicts aspects of contemporary life in different layers. The play represents intergenerational conflict, She has acted in about 8 plays, directed around 5 odd plays and written 4 plays. She has also served as an assistant director to Chetan Datar as well as to theatre veteran Satyadev Dubey. Her latest stint in theatre as an actor-director has been with Vijay Tendulkar's one-act play titled Gosht. Deepika Arvind is a writer, theatre person who has acted in many English plays and made her directorial debut with the play Nobody Sleeps Alone. Like so many other young playwrights, she has chosen to direct her work herself. Nobody Sleeps Alone is a small canvas. The play is about 3 gangsters, Godfrey, Saryu and Wazir, who run a small company together, 2 small-time hoods, a woman who help them pull off their appropriately small-time operations. The characters move through love, ambition, failure, betrayal, resolution. The play pays attention to lighting and sound design as well as properties. She even has a live musician on the stage, which responds improvisationally, sometimes leading, sometimes following the events and the emotions being played out before him. There is an attempt to give voice to as many theatrical languages as possible in this production. With this play, I wanted to create something inspired by the Hindi cinema of the 80s, 90s for the stage, says Deepika. However, a unique element in the play is the incorporation of the live music. Anupama Chandrasekhar is based in Chennai. She is a trained playwright. Her plays have been staged in India, Europe, Canada, US, who has also worked as a journalist with Hindu Business Line. Her Free Outgoing, directed by Indu Ruban Singham, was premiered at the Royal Courts Theatre in London 2007. It was the finalist Whiting Award in UK. It is a play written by an Indian to be nominated for these awards. Free Outgoing raises questions about India's media crazy society. In a series of compact scenes, a widowed middle-class mother, Malini, learns that her 15-year-old daughter Deepa has allowed herself to be photographed on a cell phone having sex with a boy at her school. The pictures are forwarded on internet throughout the nation. Almost overnight, Malini, Deepa and her brother become the focus of frenzied media attention and the victims mob fury outside their modest Chennai flat. Some of the characters blame modern Western influences for the rapid changes in morality. In one of the more amusing scenes, a character quotes a psychologist who declares Indian teenagers are getting active at a very young age because they are switching over from Thariye Sadam, which is curd rice, to pizza. Her next play, Disconnect, directed by Indu Ruba Singham, also premiered at the Royal Court Theatre. Disconnect has been translated and staged in German, Czech languages. It is about a bunch of call center workers who work nights, sleep days, put on different persons and accents. It's about identity in a new India, globalization and our interconnected lives and economies. It is a savage comedy about Indian mimicking Americans at call centers where they are driven to persecute credit card debtors. Her play for children, Snow Queen, an Indian adaptation of Hans Christian Andersen's story, written under commission of the Unicorn Theatre London. Her other plays include Acid and Close Apart. Her next play was called Bay, Sea, Ocean. Set in the southernmost tip of the country where a bay and a sea and an ocean meet, it deals with the abandonment of the elderly. The question she raises is that what happens when a culture that has historically elevated the status of parents to higher than that of God is fast-tracked into a consumerist economy and the old family system crumbles. Whose responsibility is the care of the elderly then? Kalki Kochalan is a graduate in drama theatre studies at Goldsmiths, London University. She worked with a theatre company called Theatre of Relativity for 2 years, co-authored the play Skeleton Women with Prashant Prakash and won the Metro Plus Playwright Award 2009. It is based on Inuit folktale and an allegorical story about death and love in a citation. The panel described Skeleton Woman as an imaginatively crafted piece of theatre that intertwines stories in resonant tale of loss and longing, anxiety and desire. It added, its strongly visual, simple yet oblique performance grammar is not overdetermined, providing sufficient room for directors and actors to animate the text with their own creative impulses. Commending the deceptively simple ease with which the play was written, the citation says, for its skill in fashioning a complex tale at once common and extraordinary in a manner that is vitally theatrical, Skeleton Woman richly deserves to be the winner of this year's Metroplus Playwright Award. Conclusion: this survey of growing trend shows that theatre is an art in the present tense, a medium tailor-made to explore the world we live in now. Thank you.